So our goal for today is to work with scatter plots, and we're going to work on creating them and describing them.
The idea was to give them something that they can work with. Start off with a hook, if you will. Using toys is something that we can all relate to.
And now a quick question. How many of us have gone bungee jumping before? No? Really? That is the idea for today. In this box, we have a bunch of my childhood toys that I prefer you not break, but we'll see what happens. What we're going to do is gather some data by attaching rubber bands to these toys, dropping them from a height, and towards the end of this chapter, we'll actually drop them from the amphitheater out there, and you'll have to use your information today to figure out how many rubber bands do you need for your little toy here to have the most fun without hitting the earth. So
the idea is to give them something they can work with, something to latch onto in the beginning. Give them a little silly story, even something that's personal, asking them, how many of you have been bungee jumping? And once they get a little bit of a hook in there, release them to work.
With that, I'd like one member from each team to come forth and grab whichever toy you want to work with. Once you've got that, you're free to start recording your data. So use the tape to put the measuring on the wall, and then drop them and do your measurements. One rubber band has already been attached. You'll have to eventually attach 2, 3, and 4. You're looking for the lowest it falls, so make sure you look at the lowest height it reaches. Not where it rests, the lowest it goes.
Oh.
We're used to teaching like, oh yes, step A, B, C. Is this in your notes? But not all students are at step C when we are still talking about things. They might still be on step A. And so having them all their own whiteboards allows them to work where they need to be.
So at the top of your measuring, you're going to have your object as well as the rubber band, and you're going to drop. It will drop a little bit, theoretically start to stretch. You're looking for the lowest point it reaches, not the resting point.
It's like 50. So like 2 to 3, it's not increasing as much.
Students also are kind of used to working perhaps in groups, and they know their role in a group. They know, like, I'm going to sit back and let the other people do the work. I have the smart person over here. I will do nothing now. But by doing randomization into their own separate groups, you kind of remove that barrier and give everyone an opportunity to kind of contribute something to the group.
3 is 39. That looks good.
All right, so what's our next step? Oh, good job. Thank you for that. Well done. We have our data. Now what? What are these words? Ah, I see. I like, these are perfect.
Okay, what's form?
What do you think?
The idea is I'm not going to be there, hopefully, to always give the answer. I'll come around and say, that looks great. Tell me about this. As rough as it sounds, to help them be expert learners, I have to take a step back and let them do the learning.
This looks fantastic. Can we get some labels here as well? And the next question is, describe this. What does this look like? Put that down. That's looking good.
It's not a straight line. You put that not straight.
It kind of is.
I would say so.
A little.
I would say so.
Okay, well then can we just connect the dots, please?
No, you're not supposed to connect the dots on the scatter plot. You're supposed to draw a line like through the middle.
We're looking for some special vocab here. We have 2 variables. We have the distance and number of bands. One of them is called the response variable, and one's called the explanatory variable. Which one do you think is which?
The asynchronous method of work allows them to be challenged constantly, theoretically, and the extra question at the end gives the people who have finished early something else that they can also work on.
Nicely done. Very good. I love that you're using technology for that. Thank you, guys. Yep.
This particular group was using their phone to record the height that their toy had fallen. It allows for far more accurate results rather than just eyeballing it and saying, it's about 64 centimeters. It gives them something direct to work with. And it allows them to see that their tools that they have with them all the time is applicable. It can be used for things aside from social media and games.
What shape does that kind of look like? Rainbow? It does look like it's kind of curving off, doesn't it? Describe what this looks like to a human being, like someone who just popped in, someone who was missing the first half of class, and this graph suddenly disappeared and they have to create it from their brain, or at least an idea of what it looks like. Increasing. I love it. Great. Keep going.
The important part also is at the end, it's the consolidation, is marking what is important on the students' work and going around and summarizing what students have written and trying your best to get the students to explain what each other is thinking.
What's some of the new vocabulary we have floating into this class for this lesson? And response. What's a nice way to maybe know which one is which? X for? X for explanatory. Well done. That's a nice trick that you can use. Explanatory, your X variable. And then we have our response, which kind of tells what X is responding, or what our variable is responding to. This is distance fallen is responding to the number of rubber bands. And over here, we got a fantastic dot plot. It's clear which one's which. And I posed a question to a small team that I didn't quite get to everybody, but I'm going to pose it now for us all. If you had to give a number between 0 and 100, how linear would you give your data? How linear does it look between a 0 and 100? So make a guess. There's no fancy answer for this right now. Just make a guess between 0 and 100.
I feel like we just stay basically how this is going and just continue.
So what percent are you guys kind of arriving at? Is it close to 100 or closer to 0? Closer to 100.
And one of the big takeaways for me from UDL is that the barrier within it all is not in the students, it's within the lesson. It's making sure lessons are able to reach the students and reach them where they are at.
All right. If you can clean up your boards and return to your desks, we'll do another small debrief.
Maybe like go to like